Chapter 21 from Microbiology, OpenStax, which is free to everyone. Human skin consists of two main layers, epidermis and dermis, which are situated on top of the hypodermis, a layer of connective tissue. The skin is an effective physical barrier against microbial invasion. The skin's relatively dry environment and normal microbiota discourage colonization by transient microbes. The conjunctiva of the eye is a frequent site for microbial infection, but deeper eye infections are less common. Multiple types of conjunctivitis exist. The skin's normal microbiota varies one region to the next. Staphylococcus and Streptococcus cause many different types of skin infections, many which occur when bacteria breach the skin barrier through a cut or a wound. Staphylococcus aureus are frequently associated with purulent skin infections that manifest as folliculitis, furuncles, or carbuncles. Staphylococcus aureus is also a leading cause of Staphylococcal scalded skin syndrome, SSSS. Staphylococcus aureus is generally drug resistant, and current MRSA strains are resistant to a wide range of antibiotics. Community-acquired and hospital-acquired Staphylococcus infections are an ongoing problem because many people are asymptomatic carriers. Group A, Streptococci, GAS, Streptococcus pyogenes, is often responsible for gases of cellulitis, erysipelas, and erythema nosodum. Gas are also one of many possible causes of necrotizing fasciitis. Pseudomonas aeruginosa is often responsible for infections of the skin and eyes, including wound and bones infections, hot tub rash, otitis externa, and bacterial keratitis. Acne is a common skin condition that can become more inflammatory when Cutibacterium acnes infections, the hair follicles and pores clogged with dead skin cells, and sebum. Cutaneous anthrax occurs when Bacillus anthracis breaches the skin barrier. The skin results in a localized black eschar on the skin. Anthrax can be fatal if Bacillus anthracis spreads to the bloodstream. Common bacterial conjunctivitis is often caused by Haemophilus influenza and usually resolves on its own in a few days. More serious forms of conjunctivitis include gonococcal ophthalmia neonatorum, inclusion conjunctivitis, chlamydial, and trachoma, all of which can lead to blindness if untreated. Keratitis is frequently caused by Staphylococcus epidermis and/or Pseudomonas aeruginosa, especially with contact lens, whereas it can lead to blindness. Great. Biofilms complicate the treatment of wound and eye infections because pathogens living in biofilms can be difficult to treat and eliminate. Papillomas, warts, are caused by HPV, human papillomavirus. Herpes simplex virus, HSV1, mainly cause oral herpes, but lesions can appear on other areas of skin and mucous membranes. Roseola and Fifth's disease are common viral illnesses that cause skin rashes. Roseola is caused by HHV6 and HHZ7. Fifth's is caused by parvovirus 19. Viral conjunctivitis is often caused by adenoviruses and may be associated with the common cold. Herpes keratitis is caused by herpes virus that spreads to the eye. Mycosis can be cutaneous, subcutaneous, or systemic. Common cutaneous mycosis include tinnias caused by dermatophytes of the genera Trichophyton, Epidermophyton microsporum. Tinea corporis is called ringworm. Tinnias on other parts of the body have names associated with the affected body part. Aspergillosis is a fungal disease caused by molds of the genus Aspergillus. Primary cutaneous aspergillosis enters through a break in the skin, such as the site of an injury or a surgical wound. It's a common HAI. In secondary cutaneous aspergillosis, The fungus enters via the respiratory system and disseminates systemically, manifesting in lesions on the skin. The most common subcutaneous mycosis is the sporotrichosis, rose gardener's disease, caused by Sporothrix schenkii. Yeasts of the genus Candida can cause opportunistic infections of the skin called candidiasis, producing intertrigo, localized rashes, or yellowing of the nails. The protozoan Acanthamoeba and the helminth loa are two parasites that can breach the skin barrier, causing infection of the skin and the eyes. Acanthamoeba keratitis is a parasitic infection of the eye that often results from improper disinfection of contact lenses or swimming while wearing contacts. Loiasis, or eyeworm, is a disease endemic to Africa that is caused by parasitic worms that infect the subcutaneous tissue of the skin and eyes. It's transmitted by deer fly vectors. The subcutaneous glands produce a lipid-rich substance that contains proteins. The dermis is vascularized and lies directly above the hypodermis. Staphylococcus aureus is the most common associated with being coagulase positive. M protein is produced by Streptococcus pyogenes. Trachoma is a major cause of preventable blindness that can be reduced through improved sanitation. Staphylococcus epidermis is frequently associated with nosocomial HAIs. Warts are caused by HPV. Herpes simplex virus 1 can spread to the eye and cause a form of keratitis. Cold sores are associated with HSV. Roseola is self-limiting, but usual treatment is Gyncyclovir. Adenoviruses can cause viral conjunctivitis. Tinea capitis is a superficial fungus on the head. The Woods lamp is used for suspected ringworm to visualize the fungus. Chavarod dextrose agar CC is selective for non-saprophytic fungi. The first recommended treatment for sporotrichosis is itraconazole. Swimming in a lake while wearing contact lenses is likely to cause Acanthamoeba infection. When the loa worm travels through the conjunctiva, it can cause great pain. If a patient tests positive for the loa antibodies, this indicates that the patient was exposed at some point to a loa. Acanthamoeba keratitis is commonly treated with a combination of chlorhexidine and polyhexamethylene biguanide. The stratum corneum is the outer layer of epidermis. The mucous membrane that covers the surface of the eyeball and the inner eyelid is the conjunctiva. A purulent wound produces pus or drainage. Human herpes virus 6 is the causative agent of roseola. The most common subcutaneous mycosis in temperate regions is sporotrichosis. Eyeworm is another name for loiasis. The cornea is the part of the eye that is damaged due to Acanthamoeba keratitis. Chapter 22, Microbiology, from OpenStax, which is free to everyone. The respiratory tract is divided into upper and lower regions at the epiglottis. Air enters the upper respiratory tract through the nasal cavity and the mouth, which both lead to the pharynx. The lower respiratory tract extends from the larynx into the trachea before branching into the bronchi, which divide further to form the bronchioles, which terminate in alveoli, where gas exchange occurs. The upper respiratory tract is colonized by an extensive and diverse normal microbiota, many of which are potential pathogens. Few microbial inhabitants have been found in lower respiratory tract, and these may be transients. Members of the normal microbiota may cause opportunistic infections using a variety of strategies to overcome the innate nonspecific defenses, including the mucociliary escalator and adaptive specific defenses of the respiratory system. Effective vaccines are available for many common respiratory pathogens, both bacterial and viral. Most respiratory infections result in inflammation of the infected tissues. These conditions are given names with the suffix itis, such as rhinitis, sinusitis, otitis, pharyngitis, and bronchitis. A wide variety of bacteria can cause respiratory diseases. Most are treatable with antibiotics or preventable with vaccines. Streptococcus pyogenes causes strep throat, an infection of the pharynx that also causes high fever and can lead to scarlet fever, acute rheumatic fever, and acute glomerulonephritis. Acute otitis media is an infection of the middle ear that may be caused by several bacteria, including Streptococcus pneumoniae, Haemophilus influenzae, and Moraxella catarrhalis. The infection can block the eustachian tubes, leading to otitis media and effusion. Diphtheria caused by Corynebacterium diphtheriae is now a rare disease because of widespread vaccination. The bacteria produce exotoxins that kill cells in the pharynx, leading to the formation of a pseudomembrane and damage to other parts of the body. Bacterial pneumonia results from infection that cause inflammation and fluid accumulation in the alveoli. It's most commonly caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae or Haemophilus influenza. The former is commonly multi-drug resistant. Mycoplasma pneumonia results from an infection caused by Mycoplasma pneumoniae. It can spread quickly, but the disease is mild and self-limiting. Chlamydial pneumonia can be caused by 3 pathogens that are obligate intracellular parasites. Chlamydophila pneumoniae is typically transmitted from an infected person, whereas Chlamydial psittaci is typically transmitted from an infected bird. Chlamydia trachomatis may cause pneumonia in infants. Several other bacteria can cause pneumonia and in immunocompromised individuals and those with cystic fibrosis. TB is caused by Microbiology tuberculosis infection, and it leads to production of protective tubercules in the alveoli and calcified Ghon complexes that can harbor the bacteria for a long time. Antibiotic-resistant forms are common and treated usually long-term. Pertussis is caused by Bordetella pertussis. Mucus accumulation in the lungs leads to prolonged severe coughing episodes, which is the whooping cough, that facilitate transmission. Despite an available vaccine, outbreaks are still common. Legionnaire's disease is caused by an infection from the environmental reservoirs of Legionella pneumophila bacterium. The bacterium is endocytic within macrophages, and infections can lead to pneumonia, particularly among immunocompromised individuals. Q fever is caused by Coxiella burnetii, whose primary hosts are domesticated mammals, which means it's a zoonotic disease. It causes pneumonia primarily in farm workers and can lead to serious complications such as endocarditis. Viruses cause respiratory tract infections more frequently than bacteria, and most viral infections lead to mild symptoms. The common cold can be caused by more than 200 viruses, typically rhinoviruses, coronaviruses, and adenoviruses, transmitted by direct contact, aerosols, or environmental surfaces. Due to its ability to rapidly mutate through antigenic drift and antigenic shift, influenza remains an important threat to human health. 2 new influenza vaccines are developed annually. Several viral infections, including respiratory syncytial virus infection, which frequently occur in the very young, can begin with mild symptoms before progressing to viral pneumonia. SARS and MERS are acute respiratory infections caused by coronaviruses, and both appear to originate in animals. SARS has not been seen in the human population since 2004, but had a high mortality rate during its outbreak. MERS also has a high mortality rate and continues to appear in human populations. Measles, rubella, and chickenpox are highly contagious systemic infections that gain entry through the respiratory system and cause rashes and fevers. Vaccines are available for all 3. Measles is the most severe of all 3 and is responsible for significant mortality around the world. Chickenpox usually causes mild infections in children, but the virus can reactivate to cause painful shingles later in life. Fungal pathogens rarely cause respiratory disease in healthy individuals, but inhalation of fungal spores can cause severe pneumonia and systemic infections in immunocompromised patients. Antifungal drugs like amphotericin B can control most fungal respiratory infections. Histoplasmosis is caused by a mold that grows in soil rich with bird or bat guano droppings. Few exposed individuals become sick, but vulnerable individuals are susceptible. The yeast-like infection grows inside phagocytes. The coccidioidomycosis is also acquired from soil, and in some individuals it will cause lesions on the face. Extreme cases may infect other organs, causing death. Blastomycosis, a rare disease caused by a soil fungus, usually produces a mild lung infection but can become disseminated in the immunocompromised. Systemic cases are fatal if left untreated. Mucormycosis is a rare disease caused by fungi of the order Mucorales. It primarily affects immunocompromised people. Infection involves growth of the hyphae into infected tissues and can lead to death in some cases. Aspergillosis, caused by the common soil fungus Aspergillus, infects immunocompromised people. Hyphal balls may impede lung function, and hyphal growth into tissues can cause damage. Disseminated forms can lead to death. Pneumocystitis pneumoniae is caused by the fungus P. giravechi. The disease is found in patients with AIDS and other immunocompromised individuals. Sulfur drug treatments have side effects, but untreated cases may be fatal. Cryptococcus is caused by Cryptococcus neoformans. Lung infections may move to the brain, causing meningitis, which can be fatal. The middle ear, oropharynx, and nasal cavity are directly connected to the nasopharynx. Goblet cells produce mucus for mucous membranes. With inhalation, air passes through the pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi. The epiglottis separates the upper respiratory tract from the lower. Adhesions are the microbial virulence factor that is most important for attachment to host respiratory tissues. Q fever does not involve a bacterial exotoxin. However, diphtheria, whooping cough, and scarlet fever do involve a bacteria exotoxin. Q fever is caused by Coxiella burnetii. The paroxysmal stage with pertussis has the characteristic whooping cough. Coxiella burnetii is the causative agent of Q fever. Walking pneumonia is caused by the microbe Mycoplasma pneumoniae. Adenovirus, coronavirus, and rhinovirus are all viruses associated with the common cold. Smallpox has been eliminated worldwide. Syncytia refers to the multinucleated cells that form when many host cells fuse together during an infection. Coronavirus is associated with Middle East respiratory syndrome, the common cold, and SARS, which is severe acute respiratory syndrome. Varicella zoster virus is responsible for shingles. Coccidioidomycosis is also called valley fever. Histoplasmosis, coccidioidomycosis, and blastomycosis can be caused by a dimorphic fungus. Mycormycosis is caused by infections by bread molds. In the USA, the most histoplasmosis cases occur along the Mississippi River Valley. Aspergillosis can be diagnosed using a skin test similar to the TB test. Unattached microbes are moved from the lungs to the epiglottis by the mucociliary escalator effect. Many bacterial pathogens produce capsules to evade phagocytosis. The main type of antibody and mucous membrane diffuses is IgA. Laryngitis results from inflammation of the voice box, larynx. Alveolar macrophages phagocytize potential pathogens in the lower lung. Calcified lesions called Gone complexes form in the lungs of patients with TB. An inflammation of the middle ear is otitis media. The quelling reaction is used to serologically identify Streptococcus pneumoniae isolates. Psittacosis is a zoonotic infection that can be contracted by people who handle birds. The main virulence factor involved in scarlet fever is the erythrogenic toxin. The rubella virus is responsible for German measles. A cytokine storm is an uncontrolled positive feedback loop between cytokines and leukocytes. Acyclovir may be prescribed for a case of shingles. This was read by me, for me, so I can understand microbiology. Thank you.